The sunset was painted in pastel layers of purple, pink, and gray across the sky to their left as Lizzie set out on foot with Jack that evening. Dim stars poked out into the darkening sky, and the frosty November air chilled the lungs. She laced her arm through his, snuggled into him for warmth, and walked north on Dearborn. "I really had a great time last night. I enjoyed meeting Ray, and the food was just delicious. I have new favorites to order. Thank you." Don't thank me. Thank your Packers. Double or nothing next game? You're on." "So, have you talked to Kay or Mick lately?" Jack's gloved hand covered hers linked around his bicep. "Kay's in the hospital." "What happened?" His brows pinched with concern. "Nothing, really, according to Mick. The doctor wanted her to have complete bed rest. The house is chaos because the renovations aren't finished, and the hospital is the best place for her." But I have this nagging feeling that something is wrong, and I can't seem to talk or pray myself out of it. Is there anything I can do to help? Kay and Mick are really good people." His concern for her friends and consideration of her feelings touched her, especially after Wallace treated her apprehensions as nonsense. Jack had only spent a few days with Kay and Mick. Wallace and Kay had grown up together. Yet Jack offered to help and didn't make her feel foolish for worrying. Comforted that she wasn't alone against this wall of dread, she said, "Well, thanks so much for offering. I hope I'm worrying for nothing." They were nearing Charlie's neighborhood in Lincoln Park. "Are we going to see my brother?" "Nope," Lizzie shook her head. "Well, the only place I know over here besides Charlie's is the zoo." "Are we going to the zoo?" "Yep." "Is it even open at night?" "You'll see." Quickening the pace, she led him to the zoo. Lizzie grabbed Jack's hand and tugged him through the wide-open main gate. Ta-da! She spread her arms, mittens dangling. "Welcome to Zoo Lights." Open-mouthed, Jack took in the light-encrusted trees that blazed around him like magical torches, a child's fantasy land. "How could I have missed this from the street?" He glanced backward toward the gate at the dark foliage that rimmed the park and kept Zoo Lights secreted away. Lizzie enjoyed his reaction. He wore a wonderful, star-struck expression, and she had a glimpse of what Jack might have been as a boy. "Isn't this the coolest thing? Oh, makes me feel like I'm 4 years old. How did you find this?" "Well, last year one of the news stations did a story about it. I'm a sucker for anything to do with Christmas, so as soon as the show went off, I bundled myself up and headed here. I'm addicted. I must have come back 20 times last year. I even brought Marie here once. It was so special." Her voice caught in her throat, and she looked at Jack, helpless to stem tears from welling. His eyes told her he understood. "Anyway," she dabbed her eyes with her mittens, "I couldn't wait for it to open again this year. Come on." He didn't resist as she pulled him along by the hand like a mommy with her happy toddler. "There's more," she promised. Lizzie found a bench that overlooked a huge display of the 12 days of Christmas. She sat and tugged him down next to her. Red and green lights reflected on his face as he brushed a light kiss on her cheek. "Thank you for bringing me here," he said, his voice husky. "Well, you're welcome." Lizzie scooted over on the bench, drawn by his radiant body heat, shoulder to shoulder. "Doesn't this kickstart your holiday spirit?" She leaned her head against his shoulder and gazed at the lights, peaceful and dreamy. "It does. I can't believe that this has been here, and I never even knew about it. It's one of my favorite Christmas traditions now. I plan to be here every year." "Sounds like a good plan." Jack toyed with the buttons on her coat. Her chin toward her chest, she longed for him to undo those buttons and slip that huge warm hand inside her coat and find her breast. She shivered from the reaction his simple touch invoked. "You're freezing. Let's get moving," he surmised, totally off the mark. He stood and then hoisted her to her feet. With Jack's arm around her on the walk beneath glittering trees, she leaned close to his chest. wistfully leaving the Christmas wonderland behind.